Who was the first European to land in America? If Christopher Columbus springs to mind, prepare for a surprise. We have been conditioned to believe that Columbus was the pioneer who first set foot on the American continent. But is this belief grounded in fact? Or is it a product of centuries-old misconceptions? The first European footsteps on American soil were not Columbus's, but belonged to the Vikings and Norsemen. Stay with us as we unravel the layers of history and explore the true first Europeans to step foot on American soil. Let's travel back to the 10th century, to the time of the Vikings and Norsemen. Imagine a world of longships, fierce warriors and adventurers, all hailing from the icy lands of Scandinavia, a world where the bold Norsemen dared to venture into uncharted waters. These were the Vikings, the true pioneers of their time, and they were driven by a relentless desire to explore and conquer. Evidence points us to these audacious Norsemen as the first Europeans to set foot on North American soil, approximately 500 years before Christopher Columbus was even born. The sagas of the Vikings, their ancient oral histories, tell tales of their journeys across the Atlantic, of lands they called Vinland, Markland, and Helluland. Today, these places are believed to correspond to parts of modern-day Canada, where the first Viking settlements have been unearthed. L'Anse aux Meadows on the northernmost tip of Newfoundland is one such site. Here, archaeologists discovered remnants of 8 turf-walled structures, similar to those found in Norse Greenland and Iceland. They also found artifacts including a bronze fastening pin, iron boat rivets, and a stone oil lamp. These finds, dating back to around the year 1000, provide compelling evidence of the Norse presence and their interactions with the native population. The Vikings, however, did not stay long in North America. Their settlements were temporary and eventually abandoned, possibly due to conflicts with the native population or the harsh living conditions. Yet, their brief sojourn left an indelible mark on history, pushing the boundaries of the known world and paving the way for future explorations. The true story of the Vikings challenges our conventional understanding of history. They were not just raiders and warriors, but also skilled seafarers, traders, and explorers. Their daring voyages across the treacherous Atlantic bear testament to their spirit of adventure and discovery. These adventurers from the far north were the true European pioneers in America. They were the ones who first dared to cross the vast expanse of the Atlantic, leaving behind their icy homeland to uncover a new world. Their legacy is a reminder that history is often more complex and fascinating than the versions we learn in school. Fast forward to 1492, the year of Columbus's famed voyage. Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer backed by Spanish monarchs, set sail from the port of Palos, Spain. His goal? To find a quicker route to Asia by sailing westward. The allure of spices, silks, and other exotic commodities drove Columbus and his crew across the perilous Atlantic, armed with little more than compasses and astrolabes. But as we all know, Columbus didn't find a new route to Asia. Instead, he stumbled upon a land that was new to him and his crew. After a journey of over 2 months, Columbus and his men set foot on a land they believed to be Asia. But was it really Asia? In reality, they had landed on a number of Caribbean islands, thousands of miles off from their intended destination. Columbus had come across islands like modern-day Bahamas, Cuba, and Hispaniola, not the sprawling continent of Asia as he had hoped. Columbus made a total of 4 voyages across the Atlantic, each time believing he was getting closer to the heart of Asia. His explorations led him to the coasts of Central and South America, but his feet never touched the mainland of North America. He died in 1506, still convinced that he had found a new route to Asia. Despite all the evidence to the contrary, he clung to this belief until his final breath. Yet the legacy of Columbus is a complex one. His voyages opened up the Atlantic world to exploration, trade, and eventually colonization. However, his arrival also marked the beginning of the end for many indigenous cultures and societies. His journey and its aftermath left an indelible mark on world history, a mark that continues to be debated and discussed even today. Despite popular belief, Columbus never found the New World he is often credited with discovering. So how did Columbus come to be known as the man who discovered America? It's a blend of historical context, romanticized narratives, and a dash of misinformation that led to this widespread belief. In the late 15th century, Europe was in the throes of the Renaissance, an era marked by a surge of exploration and scientific discovery. Columbus's journey was one of the most celebrated voyages of the time. His return to Europe, laden with gold, spices, and tales of the New World, captured the imagination of the public, leading to his journey being romanticized. But why America? Well, Columbus himself was under the impression that he had landed in Asia, fulfilling his original goal of finding a western route to the riches of the East. The lands he actually encountered, the Caribbean islands and the coast of South America, were new to the Europeans. However, his insistence on having reached Asia led to the misperception that he had discovered a new continent. The myth was further amplified by writer Washington Irving in the 19th century. In his widely read biography of Columbus, Irving painted a picture of Columbus as a daring adventurer who discovered a new world, rather than a navigator who stumbled upon already inhabited lands. This narrative was so compelling that it became ingrained in popular culture, taught in schools, and even celebrated as a national holiday. Over time, this myth spread and solidified, and Columbus became synonymous with the discovery of America. The truth that Norse explorers had established settlements in North America hundreds of years before Columbus's journey was largely overlooked. This is a testament to the power of storytelling and the sway it holds over facts in shaping our understanding of history. History, as we see, can sometimes be a game of Chinese whispers. So, who really was the first European to land in America, you may ask? Well, let's take a stroll down memory lane and revisit the evidence we've discussed. We've learned that the first Europeans in America were likely not the crew of Christopher Columbus, as we were often taught in school. Instead, evidence points to the Vikings and Norsemen, who were navigating the seas and establishing settlements as early as the 10th century. That's a good 400 years before Columbus even set sail. In our exploration of history, we've unearthed evidence of Viking and Norse settlements in North America, specifically in what is now Newfoundland, Canada. This finding, known as Lance Oaks Meadows, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is widely accepted as proof of pre-Columbian transoceanic contact. On the other hand, Columbus himself never actually set foot in what is now the United States. He reached a number of Caribbean islands and the coast of South America, and yet, he insisted that he had found a new route to Asia, which was his original goal. This leads us to an important point about history. It's not always what it seems at first glance. It's a complex tapestry woven from countless individual threads, each with its own story to tell. It's full of mysteries and misconceptions waiting to be explored and understood. And in this case, it seems the traditional narrative of Columbus discovering America is one of those misconceptions. The first European footprints in the New World were likely left by Viking boots, not by Columbus and his crew. So while Columbus certainly played a significant role in the history of exploration, let's not forget the true pioneers who ventured into the unknown long before him. The Vikings and Norsemen, who braved the harsh North Atlantic, leaving their mark on a continent thousands of miles from their homeland. Remember, history is not always as it seems at first glance. And with that, let's continue to question, explore, and seek the truth. For that's how we keep the spirit of discovery alive. In today's journey through history, we've uncovered some surprising truths. We've delved into the murky waters of the past, challenging long-held beliefs and shining a light on overlooked facts. We started by asking a simple question: who was the first European to land in America? The answer, as it turns out, is far more complex than most of us ever imagined. We discovered that the true pioneers, the ones who first set foot on American soil, were likely the Vikings and Norse settlers as early as the 10th century. Then we explored the life and voyages of Christopher Columbus, the man so often credited with this monumental discovery. We learned that Columbus, despite his fame, never actually set foot in what we now know as North America. Instead, his travels took him only as far as the Caribbean islands and the coast of South America, where he insisted he had landed in Asia. We've debunked the myth of Columbus and shed light on the true history of the discovery of America. This knowledge is not just for us to keep, but to share, to encourage a deeper understanding of our shared past. Next time someone asks who discovered America, you'll have a fascinating answer ready. Until our next historical deep dive, stay curious and keep questioning.